Okay, let's see how we feel about this seated view.
This feels so profesh.
I know. Do we need to zoom in?
Probably a little bit. Does it feel like it's lopsided?
How much effort goes into this? Okay, let's see how that looks. Both of us. We're even Christmas colored.
We are Christmas colored.
Do oh.
Oh my gosh. This is what happens when you have...
That's actually really good.
Okay, that's better. I feel like it's not so like, just like...
Yeah, your chest. We feel good about this?
Yeah.
Okay,
Does
this
it
is
feel
really
better?
good.
Does it feel
Yeah,
like
that's good.
Okay.
Okay. Back to the view on ABC. Filling in today is me and your guest host, Jamie.
We're gonna be
cheers.
We're gonna be chatting about the latest news headlines
In politics.
Yeah. We don't really have different viewpoints on much though, so.
Just kidding. We are here to do a Q&A, and before we get started with the Q&A, if you don't know Jamie, I'm sure all of you know Jamie. This is Jamie. She's one of my best friends in real life, and we share the common, I don't know, the common job, I guess.
Weird job, weird position.
Homeschool mom, work life. And so I'm actually visiting Michigan to visit my family, and it just so happens that Jamie lives in Michigan, not too far away at all, so she came out to visit today, and Jake has taken all of the children out, so it's just us here. Jamie left her children at home. And so we are...
With my husband.
Yes.
You know that's in the comments. Like,
Jamie left her 9-year-old by themselves.
Yes.
Their dad is home.
Yes.
And you guys sent in some questions for us on Instagram, so I'm gonna answer the questions that you guys sent to me. And then Jamie also put out a question box, and we're gonna answer the questions that you guys asked her on her channel. So there'll be a video on my channel and a video on her channel, and you guys will definitely want to watch both of them. I'm not sure which one will go first or both on the same day.
We'll just post the same day,
yeah. But you'll get a lot of Jamie and Ashley questions. So we're gonna jump right in. Do you want to both answer everything, or we didn't go over this detail?
Yeah, let's just go through them. I think
Okay.
organically, like you might have more to say on a topic than I do, and vice versa.
Right. So questions, I got a lot. And I screenshotted them because I actually asked this a few days ago. So we're gonna start with probably one of the most commonly asked questions was, how did we meet? So we met in person for the first time, what
How many
year?
years ago was that?
I wanna think it was 2018.
Yeah, because remember I left Gigi and I was like super concerned because I was nursing her.
Yes. And so it would have been the summer of 2018 at the Good and the Beautiful's homeschooling convention that they have not ever done since then.
Yeah.
Sadly.
4 years ago.
Yeah.
Oh my God,
So
4 years ago.
we met in person there at that convention, which was held in Utah. Jamie came as a guest of the Good and the Beautiful, and just to enjoy and take it all in. I was working a little bit with presenting and things, but I was so thankful that you were there because we had talked and communicated before then, and I was so excited to meet Jamie in person. So that's where we met. Summer.
Yeah, we established a relationship before then but just like commenting back and forth on YouTube videos and whatnot. Ashley's kids are stair-stepped, almost identical to my oldest 4, but she's on the other end of it. So Olivia, her youngest, is my oldest Fiona's age. So she's kind of on the other side of it. So I remember watching some of Ashley's videos on, old videos, on how do you juggle multiple ages that are all younger without losing your mind. I mean, we still lose your mind, but yes, how do you do it and seem like you know, how do you actually get through it? So yeah, so we had known each other, but definitely the Good and the Beautiful convention is where we started getting to know each other better, and then after that.
Right, keeping it up after that, which is a question we will answer. So the next one kind of goes with that one, and it is, how often do you communicate with each other? Do you have any tips for others in similar situations? So I'll start off here because I have often thought about this, because I personally really struggle to maintain relationships with lots of people, because I'm a very much like, the relationships I do have, I'm very invested in. I don't have time for a lot of surface, and I don't even really desire that at this point of my life. Yeah. So any relationship that I am giving my time to is one that I truly, truly care about. Like if Jamie called me and said, Ashley, I have an emergency, like, could you be here tomorrow? I literally would make a way to be there. And so that is something that just speaks volumes to like how I hold our friendship in my life. But to answer your question, I think the thing has to be that you both genuinely care about each other. I don't think that there's necessarily like a rule that says you have to talk every day, because sometimes we talk every day, but sometimes there's 2 or 3 weeks that go by and neither one of us gets upset at that. It's like, hey, tell me what's been going on with your life. And so not having like pressure on each other is also really huge. So, but we do the predominant, all of our communication really on the app Marco Polo. And that app is truly a saving grace. If you
should have contacted them.
Yeah, do you want to sponsor? I know, like couples that meet on like Match.com, we could totally have done an ad. Marco Polo app saves our friendship.
Which leads into the sponsorship of Marco Polo. Just kidding.
So true though, because there's something about seeing the face of the person you're talking to. Yeah. But also like we have time zone differences, and she has 5 kids and I have 4 kids, and our schedules are both very full in the best ways. And we're both also like intentional about our homeschooling and our mothering. So it's not like calling her in the middle of her school day and then being bothered that she's not answering, you know? So Marco Polo is wonderful because she can watch it when it's convenient for her. I can watch it when it's convenient for me, but I do make a habit to check it, you know, like I don't try to fall off the face of the earth. And then the other thing that I think, and I'm just speaking for me here, that is super important is that when you are doing communication like that, where you're kind of, I don't want to say like unloading, but kind of like giving an update. Like,
it's like a drop and go.
Yeah. So I always, and you do a really good job of it too, of like making a point to address what they said before you start talking about what is going on with you. Because it's like, you know, I might have asked her a question, and then if she just got on and you know, again, I'm not like, oh, that was rude. You know, I think you can't take an offense to it, but it's just something to be aware of. Is like if I ask Jamie a question, she'll really make it a point to answer what I asked, or if I ask her to pray about something, she'll let me know she's praying, and then kind of lead in.
Pray with you on Marco Polo.
Yes, she's done that a million times. So those things I feel like are tips to take. Like if you're communicating in video form like that, make sure you're not just getting on and unloading your whole life for the past 2 weeks on the person, you know, and always, always, always show an interest, a genuine interest, not a fake one, of course, but a genuine interest in what is going on in your friend's life. So those would be my tips is be gracious, don't take things personally, don't have expectations. I feel like the less demand on a person, the more the relationship can naturally kind of flourish. And understand that seasons are up and they're down. There's times of busyness and sickness and all that happens in between. And so just because you haven't talked in a few weeks doesn't mean that you're not important.
But I also know too, like with us, if we don't get on for a little while, we're both like, okay, are you going through something? Because we both handle that the same way. We both like go into our shell. And sometimes that's just life though. Like, and that's not a bad thing. But sometimes, you know, when things get busy and crazy and you're processing, mothering with life, you know, with all of the other aspects of it, it can be a lot even to get on Marco Polo without wanting to sob because you're going through so much, you know. So sometimes there have been seasons where we kind of like go back and then, well, hi, I haven't talked to you in 3 weeks, but oh my gosh, girl, this is why, you know, and that's, but praise God for friendships that you can do that with.
Yeah, and praise God for designing us both maybe not in the healthiest of ways, but at least similarly. So we understand that part to us is like when things are hard, it's retreating. And it's
retreating.
And it's a form of self-preservation. And I know that I do it, and I know you do it, and it's something that we both are aware of, but it's also like, it's an unspoken thing. Like, I understand it. So that's also helpful.
I think it comes down to just like having a good friendship with someone, and I mean, connecting in a sense where you and I, it's kind of just organic, which is a huge blessing.
Really.
And when you just have an organic friendship with someone, it works out. And I think more than anything, God really gave us our friendship for that reason. Like you said, like we both have certain dysfunctions because we're not perfect, but it works out, you know?
Because they kind of complement each other.
Right? Absolutely.
Our dysfunctions are complementary. It's really true, though. I'm trying to see if there's any other... Okay. This one is a good one that I feel like is a good question. They're all good questions, but this one kind of made me think. What do you think specifically differentiates your social media from others?
Like yours or ours?
I think ourselves. Like, what do we think differentiates our social media from other, let's say, homeschool mom accounts? Like, what makes ours individual? For me, I feel like mine is different in the aspect that I do a lot more practical how-to, or like, this is how I do it type stuff. I think a lot of YouTube homeschool moms focus on like bigger ideas and bigger pictures and very visionary, and all of that has a place in homeschooling, but I create the content that I wanted to find when I was looking for it. I also think that at this point, something that sets apart my channel from others in the same,
niche.
Is that I've been doing it consistently for 6 years now. A lot of people will show homeschooling in the beginning of their homeschooling journeys, and then maybe they make a different choice for their family. So you're not seeing what does it look like as you transition into middle school? What does it look like as you transition into high school? And God willing, I am prayerfully pursuing the fact that you guys will see graduation. Like, I really feel led and called to that completion. I don't know what I will do after that, but I definitely want to honor the homeschooling journey to completion, and I want people to be able to see that. So I do think that those things kind of set me apart from other homeschooling channels. And then lastly, just me. Because every person is different. Their delivery's different. Their mothering is different.
Absolutely.
Their strengths are different. Their personalities are different. And all of that comes through in video when you're authentic to who you are, which I very much am. So you guys see what I show, and of course I'm not going to show like my disgusting toilet on YouTube, or I'm not going to show me disciplining my kids because that's just not appropriate. But how I am, you know, I'll leave in things in our morning basket when I'm like, excuse me, you know,
which is so important
to a certain extent. And so I feel like that is probably what sets my social media apart from others.
Yeah. I agree. I think that for you, you are just you. You share what has worked for you, your experience with homeschooling, and out of that, advice and encouragement for other moms, which is huge. For me, Ashley and I feel like social media with our different seasons of life looks differently for us. For me, when I do share, I try to really make sure that whatever I'm sharing is in some way encouraging. A lot of my journey as a stay-at-home mom, homeschooling mom, postpartum mom, in this season of life, a lot of it has felt lonely a lot of times. And so, or like, am I the only one that, you know, my homeschool setup doesn't look like something out of a magazine, you know? And what's interesting though is when I share the reality of what homeschooling looks like to me, sometimes on the couch because I've got a toddler that's screaming. Sometimes we don't do any school in the morning because it got off the tracks, but we do it in the afternoon. Once again, totally different seasons. Her kids are older than mine are, but she experienced this, you know, what, 8 years ago, whatever it is. But so every time, without a doubt, I share either a day in the life or just some piece of my day and the reality of what it looks like. I always get comments and messages. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I felt like I was the only person in the world. You know, I felt like I'm the only mom who's, you know, it doesn't look like something out of Pinterest, or it doesn't, you know, I felt like I'm the only mom that screams at my kids sometimes and they're not listening, you know. But, and so I think even out of the goodness of being vulnerable, even out of sharing and being vulnerable, God blesses that, because it really helps other moms to be able to relate to it and know that we're all honestly just doing our very best with the tools that we have, you know, and in hopes that the next generation will be even better. Right. We can just pray that our kids will even be even better than us.
And I think one thing that sets you apart, even from just me, besides the fact of you being you and me being me, do we need to state the obvious, is the fact that Jamie has continued to homeschool while having 2 more newborns. Like, you've gone through newborn, and so I know Fiona was younger, but still, like, you've gone through homeschooling with incorporating 2 new babies in there. I didn't start sharing on social media until my youngest daughter was 3, and so I also didn't homeschool when I had a newborn, so I never walked that out. So a lot of times people will ask me questions like, what did you do when you had a baby and you were homeschooling? And I'm like, oh, I can't answer that because I never actually did that. I wish that I would have, but we live and we learn. And like Jamie said, you do better once you know better, but she has done that. And so I think so much of that is needed, like, because I would say the majority of homeschooling moms who watch YouTube videos have younger kids. I think that's safe to say. And so I feel like women and families would watch Jamie's content to see and have that friend, like, this is the season I'm in. And I feel like those same moms could watch me and feel entirely different. Not because I'm sharing anything wrong or that I shouldn't share, but because they're not able to do what I share at that time.
I feel like more people can learn from you. When I share, it's always like, you guys, I don't have tips and tricks right now because we're just figuring this out. You know, even me as your friend, like, I can easily text you and say, hi, how do you deal with this? Or mark you or whatever. But sometimes I've watched your videos because I know she's already put this out there. So let me just find it. And I learn a lot from you too, because you are on the other side of that. You know, and there are people that watch you that have kids going into high school years. Like, how are we dealing with this? What does this look like? So,
there's space for it all.
Absolutely.
And definitely no competition or anything. I love seeing the fact, I mean, Jamie can even testify to this even more than I can, because Jamie was on YouTube way before I was. And so just the difference, like how many accounts there are, it's almost like you can pick your favorite homeschool mom flavor and follow her. And the flavors you don't like, you can just skip right over those.
Or pick and choose what you like from people. There are certain kinds of videos that I watch from some people and then I don't watch other videos from them. You know, because I'm like, that doesn't really apply with me, or I'm a little different than that. And that's okay.
And personally, I'll be candid here and say that I definitely feel the effects of being a homeschooling mom that isn't having any more children, because I think I wouldn't go as far to say that anyone in the homeschooling arena does this, but there are a lot of YouTubers who will have pregnancies and children for the purpose of content. Like, it maybe not the whole purpose, but I mean, it helps, right? So I feel oftentimes like if I would have had another baby or 2, things would have...
You would have had another 10K followers. What the heck, Ash?
But because I can't, you know, I feel like I'm kind of like a different channel. I don't know. That's just me being vulnerable and sharing my little observation there. I might edit that out. Okay, let's see. Is there one thing either of you would change within your homeschool life?
That's That's a good one.
One thing, I don't know. I guess I would say that the first thing that comes to mind for me is I wish that there were more homeschooling opportunities where I lived. I wish there were more co-ops. I wish there were more just homeschool kid opportunities. Like, I hear these tales of people in Texas that have 25 co-ops to choose from for their high schooler to dissect a frog somewhere else besides your kitchen.
Right.
And I really, really wish that we had those opportunities. So that's probably the thing that I would say.
That you would change if you could. I think for me, I think I would change my expectations a little bit. I don't know, homeschooling, especially in the very beginning, was super triggering to me, like navigating emotions with my kids, and then triggering in ways I don't even know, like, even why, you know? I'm sure that if I sat down with a psychologist, he could let me know what was wrong. But I think that would be something I would change, and I don't even know if I could physically change that. But I think that would be the one thing, if I could look back, I'd go, I wish I wasn't so triggered all the time, you know? But I think that's part of the learning process, and part of the human process,
and part of the sanctifying process that comes through homeschooling, because
Absolutely.
I am totally different than I was when I started, and I know you feel the same way. You will not recognize yourself. You won't.
Absolutely. Well, and that's the point, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank God we won't recognize ourselves.
I know, literally. We were just talking about this in the kitchen. You know, Facebook memories come up, and you see something you wrote even just 5 years ago, and you're just like, ugh, who does that?
Can people see this? Can I delete this?
That's why I deleted my Facebook. I don't want any remembrance of that person.
Please, erase it all.
Yeah, it was 2020. I was
white as snow, Jesus.
No more. Goodbye.
Oh yeah, that's a good.
That's my former life.
That was a good year to cancel Facebook. 2020.
Cheers to that.
Cheers to that.
This one is funny. If you could be on any TV show or movie, what would it be and why?
Oh gosh.
Well, I watch 1% of TV. So I personally would like to be, I don't know. I want to be in something with Joanna Gaines. That's what I would be in. Like, just her castle remodel. That
would be cool.
I'll be her right-hand woman for a weekend for that, and do that. That would be really fun for me. I would like to learn from her. I would like to ask her questions, and then I would like her to donate to me all the furniture and all the stuff.
Oh yeah, that'd be great. That would be wonderful.
That would be my pay.
That would be amazing. I wonder if anybody, do you think her like cast and employee, they all get like free stuff?
I would say.
I would do it just for the free stuff.
Me too.
Like, I like that bench. Can I work for 40 hours?
Yeah.
Do you mind?
You would have to work for 40 hours to equal the cost of the bench.
You probably have to work like 80 hours. I'd do it though.
Yeah.
Just sit underneath her sunshine.
Right.
Please.
Teach us your ways. Yeah, that's what I would choose right now. That's what came to mind first.
Oh man. I think I would pick something like the Gilmore Girls.
Yeah.
Where I could just live in like La La Land.
Perfect.
You know, like just like cheesy one-liners and
white picket
coffee,
fences.
and who wouldn't want Lorelai as their mom? I mean, right?
Yes.
Either that or like The Walking Dead, and I could just like face my fears. Right?
I love that.
You're like Joanna Gaines. I'm like The Walking Dead. I could just like take them all out.
You could.
You feel so BA. Sometimes as a homeschool mom, you're like,
you need to feel that.
Here's some chicken noodle soup. I really wish I could go kill some zombies. Maybe it's just me, I don't know.
No, it's not just you, trust me. Okay, we have 2 more questions on this page. So this one, navigation for YouTube content for teens and tweens that I can trust, please. Well, I'll tell you that my kids are teens and tweens, even though I don't like that word, but we'll go with it. And they only are allowed to watch Mariah Elizabeth. She's a art YouTuber, and I've unwillingly watched, and this is no offense to her, but it's just, they'll play them on the TV and I hear it, and so like I've listened to hundreds of her videos, and she is someone that has kept it strictly arts and crafts and appropriate for kids. So she's like the only channel I can vouch for, honestly. It's
like when Netflix asks you, are you still watching?
You're like offended.
Oh,
yes, I am. The one time I'm gonna sit here. my boys watched Coyote Peterson, but then he got really tied up in he was like that YouTuber that would get stung by really, you know, and then you know what he started promoting.
Who's the Brave Wilderness?
Yeah, that was him.
That's him.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
That's his brand. So we had to move on from that. And so my son was like so heartbroken by that. He had his sweatshirts and his books, and it was just like the stage of life he was in at that time. Yeah. And he really was very upset by that, so he's guarding his heart against YouTube ever since. So they don't really watch it, is basically what I'm telling you. My daughters watch Mariah Elizabeth regularly. Every Friday she releases a new video, which works out very wonderfully for their screen time schedule, because I don't let my kids watch that kind of stuff during the school week. So Fridays, when we're done with school, they get to have some time, and they always, and I've watched, like I said, hundreds. So
she's entertaining. Like, she has a good personality too, and
she's
kind of funny.
It's so funny because when she just recently announced that she's like 28 years old and had a baby,
yeah, and I was like,
I know. I was like, oh, I thought she was a teenager. Like, she does a great job at appealing to her audience. Yeah. So to me, the jokes are like cringe, but they're all very PG, and she doesn't talk about anything else on there except crafts. Do your kids watch any YouTube?
Fiona really has always liked Mariah Elizabeth, but I'm just like you. I'm like, okay, all right, yeah, we can watch her again.
Squishy Makeover 9000.
I know, right? But like, she is funny. There are like some really, like, she edits where it's funny, where she like zoom in and she's making a funny face, you know? And the kids like it. But if that's the stuff they're gonna watch because it's okay, then, you know, more power to them. Because the rest of the stuff on YouTube is like, here we are on YouTube, but we're adults.
Yeah.
But for kids, it's, you just, sometimes they will do like Art Hub.
Oh yeah, that's another good one.
But that's, I feel like, when on like a Friday morning, when we're doing morning basket and we're going to do something a little different, we'll do an Art Hub. They like those, the expandable ones.
Yeah,
you know,
those
where you can open them up.
Yes,
and they're
we've done
like
a lot of those.
So that kind of stuff. But other than that, no, we kind of, I don't really trust anybody on YouTube.
I know. Even like, I know a lot of people let their boys really like, Dude Perfect, like those.
Oh yeah,
but my boys have never gotten into that.
John watches Dude Perfect with the kids, and they're, for what I can see, like, they're all pretty clean, and I think a lot of them are believers.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
So like, Dude Perfect is cool, but we don't, other than that, I mean, nothing ever really gets watched without, you know, like, unsupervised, because you just can't
trust it. Even the ads.
I was just gonna say that. Yeah.
People will always message me and be like, did you know that you have an ad for this on your channel? And I'm like,
or I'm unfollowing you because of the ad that you had beforehand. And like, I don't even know what ad I had beforehand. Like, I don't know.
Especially like during election season, people were like messaging me that left and right. And I'm like, I wish I could change that. But the ads with kids, you have to kind of watch that too. So, top 3 bucket list destinations.
You go first.
I'm always overwhelmed by this question because there's just so many places. So what I like to think of is like, are we going realistic bucket list, or are we going like completely off the rails?
Yeah,
just like
a whole new one.
Yeah, which bucket list are we doing? Like, ones I actually think I'm gonna do, or ones that I don't know. So I'm gonna go realistic because that's where my brain's at. So one of the places I've always wanted to go my entire life is Hawaii. That is coming true for Jake's 40th birthday, so that will be very, very exciting. So that is, I'm checking that one off, and I am just so excited for that. And so that is on there. I would love to go to Scotland. Ever since finding out that I'm like 50% Scottish and being told I was Italian and Spanish my entire life was a lie, I have this really deep yearning to go connect with my people in Scotland.
For those of you guys who are watching from Scotland.
Yeah, I would really love to go there, honestly. And I would also love to do like, a really long trip down the East Coast, like in the fall, Maine, Vermont,
oh
like,
my gosh, that would be so cool.
so many different,
England area.
yeah, Boston, all those, like 2 full weeks, maybe even longer, and go through that. So those are like my realistic ones that I think I will, God willing, make it to.
I'm gonna shoot for the stars.
Yeah, let's hear it.
I would love to go like through Europe. I would love to go and see France and go to England, and like I would love to go through Europe. I'd love to go to Ireland.
Yes, that would be.
I mean, how beautiful.
Yeah,
like,
the countryside of
go
Ireland.
roam the countryside and drink a beer. Like, and
That would be
everybody seems so free and without cares in Ireland. Is this true? I would love to do that. And then anywhere to the ocean, anywhere by the ocean. I think especially living in Michigan, when I go to the ocean, it's such a treasure. And
my grandma told me today she's never seen the Pacific Ocean.
Get out of town.
She's never been that far west ever in her entire life.
Oh my gosh. It's life-changing.
Yeah.
Someone told me, and this is going to sound like woo-woo, so just hold on with me. Hang on there for a minute. Someone said to me that, like, they've read there's been scientific studies showing that the vibrations from the ocean can be, like, healing to you. And I'm someone that thinks, like, okay, if God created all of this, then there's no reason why it wouldn't be, right? If everything has God's fingerprint on it, why wouldn't something as glorious as the ocean help to bring healing to us?
True.
You know, not like the universe, but like God.
Yes,
you know?
His creation.
So, but I think the first time I saw the ocean, I cried. I sat there, and I mean, I was postpartum too, so that's probably why. I had some hormones. I was sleep deprived, but it was so just breathtaking. I mean, the power of the ocean. I mean, you feel so little.
You do. That's what I think it does for me, is it reminds me of how small I am, but also how big I am to God, because He like numbered the pieces of sand on this beach, and like just humbling. His power, how like just the vast power that He holds.
Oh my gosh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And now my battery is gonna die.
I got another
Good
battery.
thing I did charge. Have we ever had like an interaction?
I don't.
So I think what...
I feel bad. You're gonna be like, I do.
No, I don't, actually. I think what I remember is like your... I remember watching some of your videos and feeling like you were very real. And that...
Did I have short hair or long hair?
Short, very short.
Oh gosh, yeah. So it was probably like millennial moms.
Yeah, it
days.
was. It was all where you were making content and it was getting put somewhere else. It was like
Millennial Moms. It was Minnie McKnight. Remember, she started Millennial Moms, and I worked for them with Michelle Pearson.
Yeah,
yeah.
It was those videos, and I just remember thinking like, this is someone who is actually honest. I just liked your delivery and your personality. Let's just be honest. Like, I did. You know, I connected with what she shared, and so I don't remember though how we.
Gosh, I don't either.
Yeah, it was a while though.
But I think what's interesting about YouTube, and especially if you're friends with other homeschool moms or content creators that are moms, there are ones that make content like strictly for like just to make content, and they don't ever view anything else, you know? And then there are ones that I think, like, I initially started doing YouTube because I was super lonely as a stay-at-home mom, and then I documented my pregnancy with Ezra. So I really wanted connection with moms, so I would view their stuff and comment on their stuff back and forth. And I think initially, I don't know if I found you through homeschool content, maybe because Fiona was getting ready to do school. Maybe I might have even found you through The Good and the Beautiful, like, because I mean I think it was right when Fiona was starting, like she was in preschool. Which is crazy.
Well, because when I first started sharing, I wasn't even using The Good and the Beautiful. I was using Sunlight. Wow. I didn't start using The Good and the Beautiful until like my second or third year.
So how many years ago was that, you think?
Well, I started my channel in 2016. And I know you did yours like in 2010 or 2011. Like you were on there for way longer.
I think 2012, because this year was 10 years for me.
Okay.
So yeah, so when I was pregnant with Ezra. So I think I started watching your content before you started posting the Good and the Beautiful stuff, because I knew that I was getting ready to start homeschooling with Fiona. And at that point, Olivia was, that was when you first started, was when Olivia was doing like kind of preschool stuff, right?
Preschool at home, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's how that's a very long thing of how we first hit it off. I like hit it off, like knew that I liked her. I just liked her personality.
It does sound like we're dating.
I know, it does. I liked her personality. And then when we commented, then we had like Michigan in common, and then just very, I don't know what the right word is. We both want to be encouraging, but we're both really honest.
Yeah.
And we both don't like cower down to popular.
Yeah.
And so I had respect for her right away, because she wasn't saying what everyone wanted to hear. She was actually,
or what everyone else was saying at that time, right?
So that's, I think, what drew us together. Which goes along with the next question. What is our favorite personality trait of each other? So I just told you kind of this, but I love Jamie. Like I really, really do. There's so many things.
Oh.
But one of the things that I love the most about Jamie, that I feel like you do, it's amazing, is Jamie can take a Marco Polo where I'm just like rambling on about, oh my gosh, I feel like this and this is this, and I'm just so upset about this, and it'll be like this big long thing. And Jamie,
our Marco Polos are usually like 45 minutes each. Like,
and then you will hear that, what I just said, and Jamie will get back on Marco Polo and restate what I was feeling without me ever vocalizing that that's what I was feeling. Does that make sense? Like, she is an amazing listener, and not only does she listen, but it's never like, yeah girl, hate your husband, you know, like it's God focused in the responses that we give each other, but especially Jamie gives me. And you're very, very I don't know what the word is, self-aware. And so I feel like what you bring to, sometimes when I'm overwhelmed with something, like I can't even find the words to describe what I'm feeling, but you'll hear it and you'll be able to go, I understand how that made you feel invalidated, or like something like that. And I'm like, yes, that's right. I did feel,
come here. This is what I'm feeling.
I did feel very invalidated in that moment. And that's just an example. It could have been something else, but you're an amazing listener and so wise in your godly counsel. And to me, that I treasure that.
Oh, thank you. Oh my gosh, I feel like I could go off.
You don't have to be super deep.
So many different things that I value about you. I think for us as friends, something that I valued hugely with you is Ashley's ability to not, even if you see that I'm feeling a certain way, to look beyond that and see like maybe what the root cause of that is, and working through that, if that makes any sense. So like I could get on and I know what I want to hear, and Ashley cares more about me as a person than just to like tickle my ears, but be like, okay Jamie, so I'm hearing this, but I think that this is something that you really need to strongly consider as someone speaking truth to me. Like that's invaluable. If you have a friend that can speak the truth to you and hold you accountable, never let go of them, right? Because you can have people in your life that will tell you nice things, and not that Ashley doesn't tell me nice things, that's not what I'm saying. But Ashley has the ability to just speak truth to you in a way that's encouraging, but is also like, I would say that you have the gift of discernment.
I do.
That is huge.
I've taken 95 tests.
Every single church I've gone to, I've taken my spiritual test.
I just want to make sure.
Hey guys, I know I'm new, but do you guys have a spiritual test that I could take? Like
a different variation?
I really like that.
To confirm.
Yes. God forbid that it be the Enneagram. But the spiritual test, I will take those.
No Enneagram, all the spiritual gifting
I will do
tests.
the spiritual gifts though. I'm okay with that. But yeah, you have the gift of discernment. And so you can, I don't know, like you speak truth and you also have a way of doing it in a life-giving way. And that to me, like I don't have a lot of friends. I have a very small circle of friends, but I would say you're one of those people in my life that if I need to hear the truth and I need someone that's going to look at my life and tell me like, these are the things that I think you need to work on, or these are the things that you do well at, I don't know. I think that's definitely you. You're definitely like a life giver in that
Only
sense.
when asked though.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't like come out. Hey, listen.
Yeah, I was watching your most recent video and...
But I ask you for
Yes,
advice a lot of the
true.
time. But I ask you for that advice because I know that you're going to be honest with me, you know? And that's what you want as a friend.
Yes.
It's not like she doesn't give unsolicited. But it's definitely...
Hey girl, just wanted to let you know.
Yeah. But you ask me for advice.
No,
and
I
stuff
do
too,
all the
you know?
time. It goes both ways. It really goes back to scripture with iron sharpening iron.
Absolutely.
It's like when you have a friend that points you to Christ, like Jamie does me, and I hopefully, and I think she just said, I do the same thing in
Absolutely.
a different way though,
Yeah.
right? Like Jamie is so encouraging and like an amazing listener and can, like I said, take 95 huge feelings and like pack it up and be like, this is what I'm, and it's so valuable for me because sometimes because of my past and everything, I don't really understand why I'm like feeling like that or what it is, and I feel like you hear it with such clarity. So I don't know if that's it is discernment, but it's also like encouragement. So I don't
I feel like you do the same thing for me. Like the way that you worded that, I was like, I think, because sometimes it's hard for me to understand or like, yeah, I don't know. Like there's been kind of like even talking about like fitness and things like that for you to be like, okay, but let's think about these things. Like let's keep you on track with your thoughts. This is what I'm seeing in your life. So let's, you know, I don't know. I feel like you do the same thing for me. But we're just like
very
different
grounding.
people. Yeah, grounding.
Grounding is a good word.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, so we already answered how we maintain our friendship with both being busy moms. Well, we kind of did. We said like tips, but I think we maintain it by putting an effort to maintain it. There really is no like better answer than that. We remember each other's birthdays and we you know, we talk regularly and we just keep in touch. Not on a perfect schedule or anything like that. Like every Friday we spend 5 hours on the phone, you know, like nothing like that, but just intentionality between each other. I will go out on a limb and say that almost 100% of our Marco Polo videos, which is how we keep in touch, are done in our cars. Yeah. There's been maybe like 2 times where you've Marco Polo'd me from your house, and the same for me.
It's usually chaos too.
It's in our cars.
Yeah.
It's when she's driving to weddings and working or running errands with the kids, and me when I'm driving my kids all around to all their things. Yeah. And that's how we do it. And so you make time. You make time.
But we both had friendships too where we've had to, like you and I have talked about not wanting to feel like you're pulling someone's like ear to get them to respond to you or to be your friend. Because in this season of life, like, and probably for the rest of our lives, like just, there's no interest in that. Like, I don't feel like begging someone to talk to me or be my friend. And everyone has busy lives. And if you have a busy life, wonderful, continue on with your life. I will support you from the sidelines, but I'm not going to invest in a friendship that's not a two-way street.
Yeah, reciprocated.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's also really important, which goes into the next one. Were we friends in real life first, or did we meet through social media? You both are such a blessing to me. That is a very sweet question. We met through social media, which I want to highlight because I get so sometimes annoyed with the bad rap that social media gets. And while I understand why it gets the rap that it does, really it's not the social media, it's the person's heart issues, and then the social media exacerbating those issues in the person. So social media is a tool, and a tool can be used for good and for God's glory, or it can be used for, you know, harm and evil. And social media definitely does both of those things. It's just we focus on the good and evil more. So literally, I would not have known Jamie existed on the face of the earth if it wasn't for social media. And so we've told each other this before, is like, if all we ever got out of starting our YouTube channels was each other, then it truly was worth it. Because will we both do YouTube forever? Probably not. I mean, I don't see it. And I know Jamie's has changed and mine will change and has changed. And so social media has the power to connect people. And it can really be used for ministry, wealth, and encouragement, and I don't know, camaraderie, like a sisterhood. Like there's other people. So,
and geez, our friendship, I'm closer with you than people in my life that I see, you know, maybe on a weekly basis, right? So it doesn't have to be a friendship, or like the depth of a relationship doesn't have to be based off of just your like radius of where you live.
Right. And I think that that's so important too, is like, if you're not experiencing friendship and community where you are locally, you know, you don't limit yourself in your own mind to thinking that a friendship with someone that lives across the country can't be fulfilling. And we don't even, like, you know, if you have a friend that lives far away and you see each other twice a year, maybe that will be in the future for us, but it hasn't been. And so we've only seen each other in person 3 times. This makes the third time.
So crazy to me.
And so the fact that we have this relationship and friendship after only seeing each other in the physical form 3 times just is a testament to, you know, to the goodness that can come from social media.
Absolutely,
I really think so. And the ability for God to knit hearts together through that. So I'm grateful. And if you feel negative with your social media experience, there's things you can do. You know, we both have talked about that privately, and I won't, like, you know, say it all out. But if someone is sharing something that is bothersome to you, it's wise to ask yourself, like, why? Is it me? Or is it truly like the message is being said incorrect? You know, like, what is it about this that is bothering me? And you know, you create your social media experience as well. So
absolutely.
No questions. Love you both. That was very sweet. Favorite pastors and sermons to listen to online?
Oh gosh, I used to listen online all the time, and I just feel like I don't anymore. Because there's just so many. There's so much. I mean, I love John MacArthur. So anything he puts out, and I don't want to say anything he puts out because I'm, you know, he's human, but he's really super encouraging to me, and he's solid. And so I like listening to him.
I would second that. He's probably the pastor that I listen to the most. I also enjoy Elizabeth Elliott's podcast, and I do listen to her as well. Periodically. I'm not like a religious podcast listener. I kind of go through phases. If I'm going to be taking like a long drive, I'll kind of line up some things for me to listen to. But then also sometimes I just don't want to hear anything or be taking anything in.
Right.
So I also like Relearn Christianity. Dale Partridge is his his are 30 minutes, and so I appreciate like the shortness of those, and I always feel like they're very edifying.
He shares really good Instagram posts, I think, through that ministry too.
Yes, he does. And he's bold in proclaiming the truth. And so that's where I'm at now. I don't listen to like much mom content. Like that doesn't help me. You know, like mom podcasts, and there's so many of them, but it's just, I don't get much out of that, me personally. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with them. It's just not something.
It gets to be overwhelming. It gets to be like everybody's journey in motherhood, everyone's kids, everyone's family, everyone's life is different. And so when you listen to all of these moms that are giving you advice, or it's like, okay, let me like make 5,000 lists of all the areas that I need, you know, it just gets to be too much. Okay, so I have to add this because it literally just hit me in my head when we were talking about the things that we value, I would say, like, as a person, not just in our friendship, because in our friendship I value that, but you as a person, your boldness to share against the grain of what the world is sharing is, I have to add this in here, huge, because I used to be a person, and this affected me as a person and encouraged me. I used to be very afraid of sharing my opinion, especially, I mean, being an influencer or whatever, because of what the world would think or offending people. And your ability to share unapologetically, standing in truth, like, that to me is, you are such an authentic person, and I'm so proud of you every time I see you speaking up on something. And it doesn't even have to be like another soapbox, right. You know, like, oh, she's, you know, but you are not like a virtue signaler.
No.
You know what I mean? By any means. And so you share unapologetically. If there's something that you feel, even if it's like on the opposite side where you're like, I have to apologize about something, or I have to, like, you stand in humility and you stand in truth. Mm-hmm. And that is, I mean, a huge, just, I would say, like, one of the number one things that I value about you as a person, not just as a friend. So.
Thank you so much.
I know that was out of everything.
No.
But I was thinking about it. Like, I have to say it.
And to go along with that, I would add that I value your loyalty as a friend. Like, there was, and if you watch, you'll know, you know, you'll be able to tell. There was a period there where it was like, I just felt completely misunderstood, and it was, you know, I wasn't like laying in my bed weeping over it, but nobody likes to feel misunderstood, especially when you're attempting to represent Christ.
Yeah.
And Jamie was just a sound, like, anchor during that time, and that trust and loyalty to me, who has had so many fractured relationships with people that I should be able to trust and have their loyalty, i.e. the people who gave birth to me. That is huge in a friendship to me. And I will share this with you guys too. I have ended like long friendships because trust and loyalty wasn't there, and I kept overlooking it, and eventually it just got to the point to where I couldn't really overlook it. It was becoming disrespectful.
Yeah.
So trust and loyalty is huge for me, and like, I trust you implicitly, and I feel like going through that in my life with you by my side was huge for that. So thank you for Jamie never misunderstood.
Absolutely. I've gotten messages in the past where I had to, you know, like, what is it, like, throat cut someone through the message? You know what I mean?
No, but the fact that you were even willing to do that versus be like, ooh, you know, like, it was just, it just meant a lot.
No, absolutely.
We're gonna end mine here shortly, and then we will, I
love you breathing.
I was so, like, look at my breath, that's so
Get
cool.
this photo real quick.
Okay, let's end it here with this one. What's the funniest thing that has happened to you while homeschooling?
Oh, gosh.
I know, funniest thing. That you have to go recent, because you won't be able to dig way back in the memory files.
I can already think of something.
Okay, go, because I can't.
Okay, so we were doing the Good and the Beautiful's mammal unit, and one of my children, who will not be named, is going through this phase right now where I don't know where their mind's at. Some would say in the gutter, I don't know, but it's innocent in the sense where it's funny for me as a mom to be like, ah, you know, like, okay, yeah, let's talk about this now.
Yeah.
You know, we were doing the milking of the cows.
Ooh.
And so I don't know if you guys, the Good and the Beautiful has the mammal unit, and you can like faux milk a cow. So it's like it's, what is it, like a glove?
A glove, and you
it's a
fill
glove.
it up.
And so being a breastfeeding mom for many years, Abe is like on the very end tail of breastfeeding. There was what do you call it? Like a contrast. There was a contrast of like, wait a minute. So this is what happens to you, like, as you are breastfeeding? And I was like, yes. Yeah. But he like continued to go on about it. And like, it's not as easy as it looks. Did you do that?
Yes, we did it.
Like, where you're like, why won't this come out? Like, there is a technique to milking a glove. I would assume a cow, right? If you're
Yeah,
lifting
I
out.
mean, you have to, I've never done it, but you know,
I mean, your fingers have to like,
yeah,
it's like a whole thing. So that was probably the funniest moment that I can think of off the top of my head, because then it was like getting everybody else, all the other kids are like, oh, wait a minute. Oh, and I was like, okay, guys, yes, everybody in this room has nursed from me. Thank you, let's continue.
This is what I've done for you.
So, yeah, and it's not as easy as it looks.
It's really hard,
right?
Lots of latching and unlatching,
yeah. This glove doesn't even feel the pain of the newborn
doing
season.
That. Yes.
So, yes.
I'll piggyback off of that and say that some of my funniest memories, of course, have to be around the table, you know, having the conversation about the birds and the bees. Because,
maturation, yeah.
Yeah, because I did the Good and the Beautiful's maturation unit with my older two kids. I think, what was it? It was a few years ago now. I want to say they were
like 2 years ago.
Yeah, they were maybe 11 and 13. I think that sounds about right. And so I did that unit separate from my younger two at that time, just because I wasn't sure. Yeah. And in hindsight, I probably should have just done it with all of them at that point, but you live and you learn. So they heard the information, and I had this really great homeschooling dream of having my husband be a part of the conversation. Well, it turns out men really never mature in that arena. So that was very distracting. And Jake is well aware of this, so this is not me being a disrespectful wife. He was like, I should have never been there. That was not good for me to be there. He could not hold it together. He said the anticipation of knowing what I was about to say, like when the culmination of like men do this and women do this and this is how this, he said that the anticipation I built was like overcoming to him. He erupted in laughter, and I tried to maintain my composure as the mature homeschooling parent.
How did you do that?
Oh, it was so hard. And they're both looking at me because their dad is literally writhing in laughter. And I'm like, what's so funny? You're being crude. The beginning of Jenny Phillips' course says, no crude jokes. You're being crude, Jake. You need to leave. And the kids are like, what's so funny, Dad? They're kind of like disturbed and a little confused.
But they're so innocent that they have no idea.
No, and
which is weird, because we weren't like, I don't know, I think I learned about the birds and the bees, like,
from your friends.
in the back of my school bus.
Yeah,
like,
I definitely learned everything on my own, too.
So I would have been mortified at my parents, but your kids don't, like, they truly didn't know.
No,
so they were like, what's
no idea. And they did not understand why it was so funny. And I was trying to hold it together. So all that to say, that memory is one that has stayed with me for forever. And so the second time I did the unit, just with my younger two kids, actually at the beginning of this school year, I did it solo. And but I had my older ones sit with us because naturally they've gotten older, they're getting older, they've had some different experiences and conversations, and just they notice things more. Yeah. And especially this culture we're living in, it's hard for them to ignore. So I wanted them to sit and have a refresher. And so it was very, very funny to watch them they had the basis already down, but my younger two were getting it for the very first time, and they knew not to make a squeak of a laugh. And so watching them like try to restrain that was almost making me laugh. And so it's just all so funny. It's so funny because it's like, it's a part of nature, and it's a part of, and people will say that, like, don't make it weird, you know, and
I know, but it's like,
but it just like, to them, discovering that that's why they are that way is like, and you're the one telling them that, it's a little weird. So those memories are,
oh man,
I'll never forget those. There's so many other funny ones too. I also really love like all the memories of when my kids were learning how to read and they would mispronounce words.
Oh my gosh, the D's and the B's.
Yeah.
That will, with Jude, my 7-year-old, like, it's killing me still. I'm like, you're like, this is a D. D, donut. D. Remember when Mikhail shared that at,
yes.
at the Good and the Beautiful? I was like, oh yeah, and then it came to life in my life too. I'm like, I hate D's and B's.
I don't really remember it with anyone other than my youngest, but like my Olivia will we've like, they've stuck with our family. So now when we see the word, we say it the way she did. Like there was a book that said Patricia and she would read it Patrika. and then like bologna was bologna, and there's like just all these funny words. So I hold on to those too, but there's lots of memories. So that is going to be it for this Q&A here on my channel. You guys definitely head over to Jamie's channel and watch us answer some more questions in this.
If you made it,
yeah,
to the end of this, and you want to still see us,
I need another.
I know, we're running on empty now.
And then I wanted to ask you, did you catch when I posted that I was going to do this? I said unprecedented, really, at the end of the...
Yeah.
Did you see?
Yeah, I did.
I was dying.
I did. I mean, it really is...
a very unprecedented moment here.
Very much so.
In history.
Yes.
And I was laughing because I was like, only people that truly know, like, how I am will get that.
Will value that.
Yeah, and get a little chuckle out of it. So thank you for watching.
It's gonna be big. Everyone's gonna love it. Everyone's gonna talk. It's all that people are talking about.
It's gonna break the YouTube algorithm.
Huge. This is gonna be huge.
Epic news.
Yes.
So we hope you guys enjoyed, and thank you so much for watching. If you have any more questions, leave them down below. I'll answer for myself. I won't answer for you.
I will answer for Jamie.
I will be speaking on behalf of my friend. I know her very well. But you can head over to her channel. I'll link it down below if you want to hear more from us in this beautiful Christmas setting. And
Hallmark Christmas background.
With the window open because I sweat so much when I film. But thank you guys for watching, and I will see you again soon. Bye.
Well, I'm all for Christmas. All the happy smiles and the wishes, and I want it all, from the lights to the mistletoe.